Coming in at number 10, check out this haunted drive-thru with a screaming sign. Yikes. This short video clearly shows a McDonald's sign screaming and screeching as it shows off the menu. How scary. Uploaded on November the 23rd, 2017 by Prof. Balson, I would have been absolutely terrified if I was the one filming this. Like, listen again. Any ghost hunters watching this, what is this sign saying? Coming in at number 9, imagine being super glued to a McDonald's toilet. That is what happened to this poor 4-year-old. On New Year's Eve 2015, poor Kaya Langmead was left with a red raw bum as she was prized from McDonald's toilet seat. The little girl fell foul of a prank by 2 teenage girls in Exeter in the UK. The teens were later tracked down by police who refused to detail whether or not they'd been cautioned. Kaya's mother Nicole shared images of Kaya's injuries on Facebook. She said that she hoped the pranksters were proud of themselves. A lot of the scary stories on this list come from the customer perspective. Number 5, although this is terrifying to me. A woman claimed to get pregnant by eating McDonald's. That would be enough to put me off it for life. For life. This is actually a happy story, but for those wanting to remain baby free for the time being, it's pretty scary. Laura Dixon from Essex had been trying to get pregnant for 10 years. Laura was previously a vegetarian, but as she was struggling to conceive with IVF, doctors advised her to get more protein. So I don't really eat meat, and I know that there are loads of ways to get protein in my diet. However, Laura decided to hit up McDonald's, and eventually she did fall pregnant. She craved the fast food more than ever. She put on 75 pounds in 35 weeks by eating 6 meals a day. She then birthed her triplets, Mason, Max, and Mia. 35 pounds and 3 babies though, literally my nightmare. Okay, now on to the nastier stuff. I hope you're getting ready for this. Up next, this man choked to death at McDonald's as part of a prank. 29-year-old Darren Bray was on a night out with his friends in Barry, South Wales when he tried to fit an entire 99p cheeseburger into his mouth. Unfortunately, the father of 3 started choking and was unable to dislodge the burger from the back of his throat. He died as his horrified friends watched him. This is a very, very sad story, and there's a sad lesson here. Don't try and stuff a whole McDonald's burger in your mouth at once. Coming in at number 2, we have a murderous cult operating in McDonald's. McDonald's was at the center of a cult killing in Shandong, China. 2 members of the Church of Oh My God, a banned Chinese religion, attacked 37-year-old Wu Shoyan when she refused to join their cult. The cult members then called her evil and kicked and stamped on her head in the fast food restaurant until she died there on the spot. Now, this was in front of restaurant revelers, and can you even imagine that happening while you were trying to enjoy your chips? Coming in at number 10, one McDonald's store is entirely run by robots. Has the AI takeover begun? Good question. The rumor has it that McDonald's are slowly replacing their staff with robots and have started by trialing it at a number of restaurants in the southern states of America. The reasoning behind what are being dubbed as McRobots is that McDonald's doesn't want to pay its staff a living wage and instead would rather invest its money on a robot force that would be cheaper in the long run. It seems that this urban legend can trace its origin back to May 2015 when a fake news article was published on the website News Examiner. Now, this website claimed that a store in Phoenix, Arizona had replaced staff with robots. Snopes debunked it, but it hasn't stopped people believing that McRobots are out in full force. Coming in at number 9, McDonald's brainwashes kids. There might actually be something to this. Urban legend has it that McDonald's has some kind of sneaky way of brainwashing kids, and to be honest, it isn't the most unlikely thing. A 1996 survey of American school children found that 96% of them could identify Ronald McDonald. That was 20 years ago. I bet every child could recognize the Golden Arches today. According to Time magazine, in 2013, 40% of parents reported that their child asked to go to McDonald's at least once a week. How are they doing this? Apparently McDonald's are brainwashing kids by very targeted marketing. McDonald's latest way to brainwash kids of America has allegedly been showing them a documentary called 540 Meals. Now, this is a movie produced by the fast food giants about a high school teacher losing weight by eating only McDonald's food. Coming in at number 8, we have the story of the McDonald's built on the ancient burial ground. Legend has it that a McDonald's in Rock Rim, Colorado Springs is built on an ancient burial ground. This is some poltergeist stuff right here. People just don't seem to have learned not to build things on ancient burial grounds. Honestly, it's always asking for trouble. This store in question has been haunted by a very angry-looking Native American man with a quote-unquote dour face. Apparently, the disgruntled ghost turns on taps, jangles keys, and produces phantom screams. Locals say that the area was indeed an old Native American settlement and burial ground, however this is unsupported by any archaeological evidence. Coming in at number 7, it's a classic. Ronald McDonald is a member of the Illuminati. According to some conspiracists, Ronald McDonald started the killer clown craze. A blogger called Bruce started the rumor, saying that the clown is a subtle representation of Satan. Now this was apparently designed by Illuminati McDonald's chiefs in order to appeal to children in order to make them more susceptible to notions of Satan and hell. According to Reddit user 911bodysnatchers322, there is some kind of strange weight to this rumor, this new urban legend. They say that clowns are used as a trigger in some kind of Illuminati mind control technique. Coming in at number 6, very worrying, McDonald's gets you pregnant. This is a weird urban legend for sure, but some people out there think that eating McDonald's fries after sex can get you pregnant. Apparently, a whole host of women trying to conceive think that eating a large portions of McDonald's fries after sex will absolutely do the trick. Founder of UK website Channel Mum, Siobhan Freegard, spoke about the myth, saying that it's very popular among the surrogate community in the UK as a pregnancy and conception hack. She said, "We genuinely don't know why it has caught on and why it has to be McDonald's, not any other fast food chain. But is it actually false?" Laura Dixon from Essex had been trying to get pregnant for 10 years. Now she puts the conception of her triplets down to McDonald's. Laura was previously a vegetarian, but as she was struggling to conceive even with IVF, doctors advised that she gets more protein. She then regularly started hitting up McDonald's stores and eventually she did fall pregnant, craving the fast food more than ever. She put on 75 pounds in 35 weeks by eating 6 McDonald's meals a day. She then birthed her 3 kids, Mason, Max, and Mia, in 2012. Coming in at number 5, McDonald's burgers are made of earthworms. Now this rumor dates back to 1978 when people started referring to McDonald's burgers as McSquirmies. The rumor actually started about fast food chain Wendy's, and then they were perpetuated by false reports that actually there were undercover investigative journalists involved and they discovered that there were worms in the beef patties. In classic urban legend style, the rumors were then switched to focus on the biggest fast food chain in the biz. The rumor actually became so strong that sales were affected in the American South. McDonald's responded by denying that there were any protein additives, although they failed to mention the word worm. Coming into number 3, we have the urban legend of the haunted McDonald's bench. Legend has it that there is a haunted Ronald McDonald bench in Cuernavaca in Morelos, Mexico. It seems that one evening, 2 drunk guys were out and about and wanted to get some food after some solid drinking hours. It's a tale as old as time, right? Get drunk, need a burger. These guys got their burgers and they sat on a bench outside the restaurant munching away. When they finished, one of them thought that, you know what, they'd call it a night. One guy turned to the other and said, "I'm tired." Now it seems that this was the moment that the inanimate Ronald McDonald on the bench decided to pipe up. He turned his head, smiled and said, "I'm tired too." One of the guys had a heart attack because he was so scared and shocked. His friend rushed to get help. Now the guy survived but was in hospital for a long time. Apparently the whole thing was caught on CCTV, but McDonald's destroyed the footage and hushed up the incident. I for one do remain pretty skeptical. Number 1, there is a mutant meat lab out there. In the early 2000s, rumors started flying around the internet that McDonald's meat was made from genetically modified cow mutants grown specifically to be burger food in a secret lab somewhere. The original source seems to be from a fake email uncovered in Brazil. The email said that people who had seen the creatures reared in the lab were absolutely horrified. They said that the mutants had no limbs, bones, horns or fur, that their heads were the size of baseballs and that they were fed through tubes directly into their stomachs. The email also stated that those who eat this meat are at risk of catching a disease akin to AIDS and Alzheimer's. What on earth? Coming in at number 10, we have the legend of the pink slime. You must have seen those pictures of horrifying looking pink slime being troughed in a factory. At first people are like, oh okay cool, strawberry milkshake, a bit gross, but you know. However, reportedly this goo is what forms the meat in chicken nuggets. Grim. The pink slime is said to be mechanically separated chicken smashed and processed through a sieve. It isn't just meat either. Reportedly the pink goo contains eyes, guts and other bits of offal. When this picture was circulated, a lot of people were thoroughly grossed out. out. Now McDonald's changed their ways in the early 2000s, no longer using mechanically separated meat and constantly refuting the pink slime allegations. However, with the scary image out there, it's one of those truth-based urban legends that I don't think they'll ever shake off. Coming into number 9, we have the McGangbang. I'm sorry, what? What on earth is the McGangbang? A good question. To be honest, I think that the name of this urban legend is scarier than the actual legend itself. Either way, you may have heard people talking about McDonald's secret menu items. Sure. Fine, apparently they exist, I guess. One menu item that caught media attention is the alleged McGangbang. What a name, what a sandwich. The much discussed McGangbang is a combo of McChicken and a double cheeseburger. There have been videos of this mystery burger too. The sandwich became so entrenched in urban legends that 8 News even ran a segment on it. It turns out it's all a myth though. McDonald's has never formally admitted that they even have a secret menu. It seems that people have been just fusing their chicken and beef patties together to form their own sandwich. The 8 News segment is hilarious though. There's one lady who finds the name a disgrace. A disgrace!
The name itself, it's like, it turns you off. Especially if people have morals.
Coming in at number 8, we have the mystery drive-thru girl. This is a particularly good McDonald's creepypasta. The story goes that one day, a guy stopped at a McDonald's drive-thru and paid for his sausage breakfast burrito on his debit card. A young female employee rang it up, and when she handed him his card back, he noticed it was really hot. He thought this was really weird, but the girl would move from the window. There were cars behind him beginning to beep, and he didn't want to cause a fuss. He did a double whammy that day and ordered Taco Bell for lunch. When he handed his card over, the cashier recoiled as if it burnt them. Weird, he thought. Again, he just carried on with his life. Later, he saw on the news that a Taco Bell worker in his area had a horrible accident and had fallen into a vat of boiling oil. He got deep fat fried, which is not ideal. He then watched the news segment and realized that it was the guy who had served him earlier that day. Really creepy. Then the guy went to Walmart to do some groceries. Now he'd popped in the night before to buy a few bits for dinner, but that evening he wanted to do a full shop. When he arrived, there was a police cordon. A member of staff had been found hanged. Crazed paranoia was now running through his head, and he decided to visit the gas station that he'd been to and used his card in on his way home the night before. When he got there, he went in and asked to speak to the cashier who'd been helping him the day before. A different worker said that they'd gone home sick later that night and they hadn't come in for their shift that day. The writer then said he knew it had something to do with the McDonald's girl and the debit card. He went back to McDonald's and asked for the girl, but the manager said that nobody fitting her description worked there or had ever worked there. Coming in at number 6, we have the legend of the screaming sign. One McDonald's restaurant out there in the USA is said to be haunted by a very angry ghost. In fact, it isn't so much the restaurant as it is the sign outside the restaurant. Now, local law says it is the spirit of a disgruntled customer who was killed as they tried to walk through the drive-thru. Of course, one customer caught a short video of the sign screaming and screeching as it shows off the menu. To me, it's pretty scary. This was uploaded on November the 23rd, 2017 by Floberson. I'd actually be terrified if I was the one videoing this. If there are any ghost hunters watching, why don't you let me know what this sign is saying? What are they trying to contact? Coming in at number 5, we have the legend of the Vermont Dry Cook. Urban legend has it that somewhere in Vermont in 1999, a fry cook walked into the middle of the restaurant and poured himself in scalding hot oil. He didn't even flinch when this happened, he just doused himself in it. The legend said that several of the customers started to laugh and roll around in the burning oil alongside of him, and all were rushed to hospital and died. But one. There is only one survivor who was doused in oil, and that woman lost the ability to speak, so she couldn't tell her story. Weirdly still, the manager of the restaurant claimed he didn't remember even hiring the fry cook and that he wasn't in any official paperwork. His name tag didn't even have a name on it, just several hashtags. Of course, on googling the incident, nothing surfaces. However, it is claimed that the McDonald's PR team were involved in a strict cover-up operation, burying the story. Coming into number 3, we have secret beef. There was an urban legend going around for years and years that McDonald's were mislabeling some of their food as vegetarian, and in fact they were made with beef extract. Well, you may find some of the urban legends on this list far-fetched, but this was actually true. Why is this scary, Rebecca? Well, imagine being a vegetarian or a Hindu and thinking that you were eating something that coincided with your choices or your beliefs because the company tells you that they are. Then you find out that they lied and you've been putting something in your body that you don't believe in. What else could McDonald's have lied about as well? In 2002, McDonald's Corporation agreed to donate $10 million to Hindus and other groups to settle a lawsuit in which they were found guilty of mislabeling fries and hash browns as vegetarian. They were found to contain beef, and since then McDonald's has corrected the glaring error and both menu items are meat-free. Since 2002 they've also worked towards creating a more vegetarian-friendly menu. But again, if they were lying for decades, for me, this just isn't okay. What else could they be lying about? Coming into number 2, we have the legend of McDonald's starting the scary clown craze. A series of Japanese McDonald's commercials were accused of fostering the killer clown craze of 2016. In the commercials, Ronald McDonald is straight up acting like a super creep. He places a number of weird calls and then he is seen lurking outside a woman's home a la creepy clown style. In another commercial, he is hiding under a woman's bed without her knowing, and another shows his creepy clown gloved hand opening a locked door from the inside. Anyway, McDonald's were called out for perpetuating the clown issue, with many saying that they straight up started it. In a statement released to tackle the rumors, McDonald's said, "McDonald's and franchisees in the local markets are mindful of the current climate around clown sightings in communities, and as such they're being very thoughtful in respect to Ronald McDonald's participation in community events for the time being." So basically, after igniting the bonfire, Ronald was stepping back from the blaze to watch it burn. You're creepy, Ronald. You're creepy.
Number 10. No ribs in the McRib. Every time it comes back, millions of people storm their nearest McDonald's ready to do anything to just get one taste of the limited time product. I mean, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. I'm talking about the McRib. I made it sound like Beyonce's leaked. But all temptation aside, there's zero rib in the McRib. It's a mixture of different pork pieces pressed into a rib shape. So there's probably way more pig butt and noses than there are pig rib in the McRib. I mean, you should know this the second you bite into it. I've squished Play-Doh in my hands that has more density to it. The McRib is basically what comes out of an easy bake oven produced on an industrial scale. Most people want their meat organic, but McDonald's only serves theirs blended. Number 9. McDonald's versus the rainforest. How do you get that much meat and that many stores all across the world? Well, you need to have thousands of beef farms. Well, how do you get thousands of beef farms? Well, you need tons of land. Well, how do you get tons of land? Well, you cut down the rainforest. In 1994, McDonald's took 2 members of London's Greenpeace to court for making claims that McDonald's was cutting down the rainforest. But after everything was settled in 1996, it turns out that some of the claims against the Greenpeace members were true. It's actually a pretty famous case nicknamed McLibel. Next time you're enjoying a McRib, remember that you're eating a pig's butthole and an orangutan lost his home. Number 8. Poop in your soda. It's summertime and you know what that means. McDonald's is going to be hitting you with those dollar drinks. So cool and refreshing. I mean, the worst part about it is just the extremely high levels of fructose corn syrup. But wait, there's more. There's a chance that there's a little poop in your drink. A study done in the UK back in 2017 found that 3 out of 10 ice cubes coming from McDonald's had fecal contamination. That means that 30% of the ice in your drink has a little poo-poo in it. Y'all got stinky poop breath not from poor dental hygiene, but because you're drinking somebody's butt juice. If it makes you feel any better, the study tested some other fast food chains and they were even worse. Places like KFC and Burger King had up to 60% contamination in their ice. That's 60% frozen poop cubes. Yum! I hope you're all getting that large tube of poisonous sugar garnished with a stranger's chocolate starfish. Bon appetit. Number 7. The Heist. This one's like a secret spy movie or something like that. We all know about Monopoly at McDonald's. It's one of the biggest games that they get people super hyped for while they're stuffing food in their face that gives them pre-diabetes. But there's a little secret scam happening behind the scenes that most of you probably didn't know about. To get the word about Monopoly at McDonald's out across the land, the burger giant was using a marketing firm known as Simon Marketing Incorporated. Head of security at Simon Marketing Incorporated was a man by the name of Jerome Jacobson. He had access to all the winning pieces, and he would take them and send them out to his friends and family, and then after they collected the money, they would give Jacobson a cut. What ended up happening is someone ratted out Jacobson to the FBI, and the whole operation came crumbling down. Dude! Why would you snitch on a guy from stealing from McDonald's? They're the bad guys. You're basically Robin Hood. Number 6, underpaid employees. I mean, this isn't surprising. I would never think that someone working at a fast food chain is rolling in dough. But McDonald's employees working full-time barely make a living wage. And McDonald's is one of the largest employers in the world, right after Walmart. You think with that many McDs running around, they could give their employees enough to feel like they're actually loving it. Not only this, but the jobs are getting replaced constantly by machines. Now when you go to McDonald's, you have an automated cashier so you can order without looking someone in the face. And these machines are replacing all their jobs. I mean, when I think about it, it's kind of a good thing. Who wants to work at McDonald's? If all these jobs are taken by robots, then all the people who used to work there can become poor, struggling artists like the rest of us. Quit flipping burgers and start your YouTube channel that costs you more money than you make off of it. Yay. Number 5, bleached burgers. How does McDonald's crank out so many burgers? Well, for a time, they were using that was known among the public as pink slime. They would take beef trimmings, which is all leftover parts of beef, the guts and butts for lack of a better term. They would soak them in chemicals, most chemicals that are used in like cleaning products, and they would whip it into a Play-Doh-like substance and then press it into patties. Could you imagine your mom making you a home-cooked meal and she's like, hold on, I gotta put a little bleach in it for you. I know my baby loves his bleach. McDonald's has since stopped using the pink slime to make their burgers, but there was a time when you would walk into a McDonald's, you would end up eating a bleached pig's butt and then drink some poo water. And honestly, after saying all this stuff, I'm still going to get McDonald's next time I'm drunk at 2 a.m. Sorry. Number 4, massive waste. McDonald's is a massive food chain, so that means they naturally produce an insane amount of waste. Every time you go there, you're getting a paper cup, something that your burger is wrapped in, and a plastic straw. Rest in peace, the turtles. They produce enough garbage to fill up the Empire State Building every day. Not only that, they're also throwing away a ton of food. It's estimated that there are 100 burgers thrown away every minute from McDonald's, and that's not even including the chicken products, the fish products, or the fries. I mean, we've established that this stuff is basically poison, so it should get thrown in the trash, but there's people running around hungry, and I'm sure they would prefer to eat McDonald's than nothing. Also, we could just stop McDonald's from getting the opportunity of turning our food into garbage if we stop eating there. But we all know that isn't gonna happen. I would love to get proven wrong on this, but the deeper and deeper we get into this list, the more my McDonald's cravings grow. What's wrong with me? Number 3, animal cruelty. If reincarnation exists, I hope whatever God is in charge of that I don't come back to this earth as a chicken, especially not one that is raised to feed someone at McDonald's. I want to come back as one of those purse dogs, in a really fancy purse, looking down at all the dogs who are forced to walk, and every time I bark, I want you guys to know I'm saying, sucks to suck. But being a McDonald's chicken is far from glamorous. An investigation done by PETA exposed that McDonald's was using hormones on their chickens to make them grow faster. These hormones would also cause organ failure, among a ton of other horrible things. Once they were ready to harvest, they would get hung upside down on a conveyor belt, they would have their throats slit, and then they would have their feathers burned off. Some of the chickens were still alive when they went into the oven to be defeathered. Number 2, McDonald's is the largest toy distributor in the world. Bigger than Nintendo, bigger than Walmart, bigger than Jeff Bezos and his Amazon invasion that will soon take over the world. We all pledge allegiance to the powerful Jeff Bezos. Well, McDonald's has all of them beat. They crank out toys for kids more than anyone else. Why is this scary? Because that means they have a larger influence over kids than any other company. From an early age, we're indoctrinated with the idea that we should be guzzling down Ronald McDonald's goods every time we feel a rumble in our tummy. This is typical brainwashing. Get them while they're young. If I ever have a lady show up my door carrying a baby and she's claiming that it's mine, I will never let it eat McDonald's. Until I'm too tired to make dinner, which will be like 48 hours. Number 1, chicken head. So we know that McDonald's is one of the worst things you can put in your body besides a line of fentanyl-laced cocaine, but at least we know what's inside of it and they're trying to hide it. Well, one time something slipped through the cracks and one unlucky customer got to look at what their food really was. McDonald's was trying to branch out and try a new line of chicken strip style style nuggets called Mighty Wings, when Catherine Ortega purchased one of these and found a deep fried breaded chicken head in the box. Ew! Imagine the mummified chicken face staring back at you as a reminder that you should start cooking at home again. So next time you get a pack of nuggets, remember there might be some ground up face in there.
Starting us off, number 10, like we always do, is the idea that Ronald McDonald is actually Pennywise. Is that you? Is that you in disguise? I know, your childhood hero is also your childhood nightmare. Okay, I'm sorry, but I mean, think about it though. Bright red hair, dramatic red lip makeup on top of an otherwise hauntingly pale face, a red painted on nose, an obsession with kids will sometimes seem to disappear out of the public eye for years at a time. Pennywise likes to lure kids with things they like, and sometimes a kid really just wants a Happy Meal. Okay, sorry, but not sorry on this one. I don't know if it's just me, but there is way too many similarities. Next up at number 8 is Ronald McDonald killed Grimace. Well, do you guys remember Grimace? I'm talking about that fuzzy purple guy. He was like in our childhood lives in the 90s and early 2000s, but what happened to him? Where did he go? Where are you, purple friend? And also, didn't Ronald have other friends alongside of him, like these other like creatures and stuff? We used to get toys of these in the Happy Meals, but now I don't see any of them. Well, yeah, apparently Ronald himself had a pretty active role in their disappearances and a very active role in Grimace's disappearance. He killed him. Before the mid-1970s, so actually this goes beyond my childhood, Grimace was actually named Evil Grimace. And that's because he had an urge for stealing milkshakes and soda. Of course, Ronald didn't like this, so pretending to be a film director, he tricked Grimace into starring a role, only to direct him to step back from the camera, resulting in him falling into a lake. Evil Grimace was later revived as plain old Grimace, but we still don't know if this is the same creature or a descendant of the murdered monster. But this rumor is going around. Coming in at number 6 is the idea that Ronald McDonald is an escaped felon. What the heck is going on here? Is this real life right now? Can you imagine this one? Imagine this one's being real. There aren't really a whole lot of details about this one, but he is known for wearing both stripes and a jumpsuit. Not unlike your traditional prison getup. You know, the clothes they wear? Well, maybe that's why he prefers to hang out with kids, because they have no way of recognizing him from his past convictions. And that would kind of explain why he decided to choose the clown career path. He could just wig up and paint his face, you know, to hide his identity. I mean, pretty clever if you asked me. Halfway through this list, at number 5, McDonald Land is a cult, and Ronald is its leader. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me now after doing the research for this one. All of the residents of the land are obsessed in one way or another with hamburgers and fast food. Where did this obsession come from? They all have a very specific role and never seem to have free thought extending beyond those roles. They all seem to worship Ronald McDonald. They never really wander off or act out. Except for Grimace, rest in peace, and the Hamburglar. I mean, what happened to those guys? What really happened to them? But again, those are very defined roles, and Ronald even killed Grimace for acting out. I don't know, it doesn't exactly seem like a healthy, functional society, if you ask me, you know, that contributes to the goodness of the overall world. And at number 3, Ronald McDonald is addicted to fast food. This theory makes complete sense to me. His best friend is McDonald Land and French fries and Big Mac and a cheeseburger, a good old cheeseburger. I love me a cheeseburger as long as it has no onions in it. And he created an empire of fast food restaurants where he can go to get his fix whenever he wants to. And to feel less alone, he became a genius marketer to get most of the world to indulge in his guilty pleasure along with them, so he's not alone. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't craving a pack of McNuggets like right about now. You know what? After I'm done filming this video, you guys know what's up on Uber Eats. Next up, number 2, he's an actual person. This theory is one that perpetuated by the McDonald's company itself. While logically, most adults know that Ronald McDonald must be played by an actor or various actors, over the years, well, the company has yet to admit to this fact. And I guess whoever is in the suit is sworn to secrecy too. They can't reveal their own identity. Because one time Ronald McDonald was involved in a collision and refused to give the police his civilian name. I mean, that's if he even has one. Luckily, this clown didn't end up getting arrested, but unlucky for us, we don't know his identity, but who knows, maybe he actually got arrested and he's in a jumpsuit and we didn't hear the story right. And finally, taking the top spot on this list, Ronald McDonald actually lives inside of his own head and has created a world in there where he can exist comfortably. That world, of course, is McDonald Land. It explains why all of the residents who live there are some sort of non-human creature who seems to worship Ronald. It's not that humans don't exist to him, it's that he doesn't want to live among people despite himself being one, if he's actually a human. So this is why he created the land where every resident in purple and fuzzy or a duck or a humanoid can live. When we get a glimpse into McDonald Land, it's just people playing the part of the citizens to make Ronald comfortable enough to come into his society.
Starting off at number 10 now, we have the intercom hack. On December 4th, 2016, the McDonald's intercom got hacked by a prankster. A YouTube video shows the hacker's voice coming out of the speakers and saying, "You know I'm actually on the toilet right now and I'm just going to serve you your food. I'm not even going to wash my hands. I'm trying to get some special sauce out right now." Yeah. After a moment, he then goes on to say, "You know what, just pull forward because I'm going to give you whatever the I feel like giving you." Many people out there online found it quite funny, but as you might expect, McDonald's were pretty mortified. Somehow the hack had gained access to the intercom system by matching its wireless frequency. The company is now trying to make sure this never happens again. Next up at number 9 now, we have hot coffee. In 1992, 79-year-old Stella Liebeck bought a cup of coffee from a drive-thru at McDonald's and spilled it on her lap, burning her. She sued McDonald's and a jury awarded her $3 million in punitive damages. Public opinion on this was divided. Some people thought it was very ridiculous and said, you know, coffee is hot and it's not McDonald's fault that she spilt it. While this is true, there was more to the case. Mrs. Liebeck was not driving when she spilled the coffee. She was a passenger in a car and was trying to remove the lid to add cream and sugar when it tipped and spilt all over her. Back then, McDonald's made their coffee so hot that it gave Mrs. Liebeck third-degree burns that required skin grafts on her inner thighs. Some people say this court case set the precedent for frivolous lawsuits in the US. Coming at number 8 now, we have Mayor McCheese. HR Pufnstuf was a children's TV series that originally ran in 1969. In 1973, the creators of the show sued McDonald's, claiming the entire McDonald Land was a copyright infringement of their show. They claimed that the character Mayor McCheese was a direct rip-off of their character HR Pufnstuf, himself a mayor. A judge ruled in their favor, and in a later appeals court, the creators were awarded over $1 million. McDonald's were also ordered to stop producing many of the characters and to stop airing commercials featuring them. Next up at number 5 now, we have the McLibel. This was the name given to the longest court case in English history. Two activists were locked in a legal battle with McDonald's for about 7 years. In 1986, Helen Street and David Morris had handed out leaflets accusing McDonald's of encouraging litter, mistreating animals and workers, and destroying rainforests. 4 years later, McDonald's served libel writs on them, demanding they retract their claims and apologize or go to court and prove they were true. Helen and David chose court. The legal fees cost McDonald's over £10 million. In 1997, the judge finally gave his judgment. He rejected claims that McDonald's was to blame for starvation in the Third World or had used lethal poisons to destroy vast areas of Central American rainforest. However, he agreed that McDonald's hadn't been honest with their nutritional labels, they'd exploited children in its advertising, and paid low wages. Next up at number 4 now, we have Undercooked. In September 2017, McDonald's came under fire after several incidents linked undercooked burger meat to illnesses in South Korea. This included a mum who said her 5-year-old daughter suffered permanent kidney failure after eating an undercooked patty in a Happy Meal burger. Another group of school children and their teacher allegedly suffered from enteritis, which is an inflammation of the intestine, after eating a McDonald's bulgogi burger. Similar cases started being reported until McDonald's career managing director made a statement apologizing for any illnesses caused. They temporarily ceased the sales of the burger pending further investigation. At number 3 now, we have the French fries. In 2002, McDonald's apologized and paid $10 million to vegetarian and religious groups for using beef flavoring in their French fries. The plaintiff said that when McDonald's switched to vegetable oil to cook its fries in 1990, many people assumed they were vegetarian, and McDonald's did not do enough to let people know about the beef ingredients. Before the apology and settlement, Hindu groups attacked a McDonald's in Bombay. A lawyer who filed the first lawsuit on behalf of 16 million Hindus Hindus and vegetarians, said, "I am not happy with the $10 million and I wish I could do better in terms of money." Next up at number 2 now we have cheap labor. To say McDonald's has had a strained relationship with some of its workforce would be an understatement. The low wages and long hours have started to put a real strain on many workers, and in November 2012 it reached a boiling point when workers in New York started to go on strike. In Brazil, McDonald's has been accused of mistreatment of pregnant employees, poverty level pay and wage theft. In some parts of the US, McDonald's has been accused of making guest workers take 25-hour shifts without taking a break. Some experts think it's only a matter of time before a major labor lawsuit is presented to the company. And finally at number 1 now we have racism. In January 2015, 10 former McDonald's employees filed a lawsuit against the company saying they were fired by their supervisors because there were too many black people working there. The lawsuit alleges that high-ranking supervisors in 3 different branches would make degrading comments about working in the ghetto store. One of the claimants, Willie Betts, said, "All of a sudden they let me go for no other reason than I didn't fit the profile they wanted at the store. I had no idea what they meant until I saw everyone else that they fired as well." The owner of one of the branches is black and told the media that discrimination has nothing to do with the firings. He didn't comment much more except to say he's not at liberty to discuss issues regarding employment or termination. McDonald's has said that this is an issue for the individual franchise owners of the stores. The lawsuit hopes to shift that responsibility to them so they will do more to fight discrimination.
Starting us off at number 10 is the Paradonald's Part 1. Do you see what I did there? Because that was bloody brilliant. Now, this story was shared by Redditor Ninja Nerd BGM, and he said while working on a coding assignment one day he got super hungry and decided to grab some McDonald's, which was the nearest place to him. He starts driving on his usual route but realizes the street lamps are going out as he's driving by them and turning back on once he's past them, which had just never happened to him before. Thinking it was some kind of electrical malfunction, he turns onto the main road to realize he doesn't recognize any of these roads. The McDonald's he was used to just wasn't there. Instead, this one was a whole lot bigger, and when he pulled into the drive-thru, things got even weirder. When trying to pay, the employee said they don't accept card and then pulled out a blood pressure monitor looking machine that he was meant to put his finger on to pay. And I mean, I don't know about you, but last time I checked I've never paid for a McFlurry with my blood. Oh, but it gets worse. But would I pay with my blood? How much do I want the McFlurry at? How much do I want it? Am I gonna leave my life on the line for McFlurry? Probably. Yeah. Coming in at number 9 is the Paradonald's Part 2. Now the user then insisted on paying with cash and found it weird how after giving the employee a $20 bill, he was examining it like he had never seen money before. He then asked for his change, to which the employee said they don't have cash at that location, only cash vouchers. What even is a cash voucher? Who even does that anymore? It's not 2008. He took it and pulled up to the next window to get his food, and another employee hands him his takeout bag. He then grabs it back saying, "Oh wait, I forgot to put in the fries." Once he rectifies the situation, he hands it back and tries to say, "I hope you have a great day, I made this specially for you," but he kept glitching on the word special. It was like okay, that was not how he did it. I wasn't there. It was like a game glitch almost. His face was twitching, he just couldn't get the words out, and he started saying other things as well. Now if that wasn't the last straw, the user hears his dog whimpering in the back seat, and when he turns around in his car, he hears this strange feedback loop sound, and suddenly he's back at the traffic light looking at the McDonald's. This time it's the same one he's always seen. He has his $20, no food, and no cash voucher. So he just randomly traveled to a parallel universe where this McDonald's was just very weird and you pay via blood. That's not one I'd like to visit. At number 8 we have Monochrome World. Now this insane creation comes from McDonald's China, and I present to you black and white burgers. They're half the size of a normal burger and are quite cute actually, I'm not gonna lie. The white one has black sesame seeds on it and the black one has white seeds on it, and it's just very aesthetically pleasing. I can't even imagine seeing that in front of me, so I could totally see it coming from a parallel universe. You know, one where evil and good people are strictly divided. You know, where there's no grey area, there's only black and white. This whole universe would be monochrome, and you'd probably be branded from birth. If you were good, you could only consume black food your whole life, for example, and vice versa. I feel like that'd be so nerve-wracking. Everyone would know if you were a good or bad person just by looking at you, because people themselves in this universe also have a huge bad or good branding on them. So really, hide your kids, hide your wife. You know the bad people are around. They're eating the white food, the white burgers. Filling at number 7 slot is Chocolate Land. I honestly think McDonald's Japan has killed it with this one. Instead of us buying fries fries, then buying ice cream separately and then dipping it. The Japanese have really solved all our problems, or maybe all of my problems. And side note, you're literally lying if you say you've never done that. I know you have. Stop lying. Now, the McChoco potato is basically fries that come with two sauces, white chocolate and milk chocolate. In the Munchkin Land parallel universe that I always mention in these videos, this would honestly be what they had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not even gonna lie. The perfect mix of sweet and salty, but more on the sweet side because of course nothing can be wrong in Munchkin Land. Unhappiness and bad thoughts just do not exist in this world. It is illegal to be unhappy. Probably been in jail my whole life. Now, number 6 is where is the M? Now, this is just so weird. It's not even funny. It's not even logical. Now, this picture was shared by Joel TB on Reddit, and it's essentially the McDonald's sign, except it's not. The two arched M's are gone, nowhere to be seen, vanished into thin air. It's just over. Instead, in its place, it's just one overarching arch. It's just an arch, it's not even an M anymore. How can they still call it McDonald's? Riddle me that. Exactly. But say this was a picture from a parallel universe, I'd understand because they probably have a different alphabet to us altogether, and that is all well and good. But in our universe, I will never stand McDonald's. Period. I'm just not here for it. I'm not. I'm walking up. Coming in at number 5 is the McLobster. Now, before this, the only seafood item on the menu at McDonald's was a Filet-O-Fish, but that can now take a back seat to the McLobster. In some McDonald's in the eastern provinces of Canada, they actually sell the McLobster, and I feel like the thought of that to some people is ridiculous. Not to me though, I'm about it. I would want to try it, to be fair. In a parallel universe, I reckon McDonald's would be a very fancy 5-star restaurant where the chef's favorite dish would be the McLobster. Like, can you imagine McDonald's being the equivalent of a place like P.F. Chang's or Zuma? Oh, I'm going to McDonald's, let me put on my heels. Can you imagine? LOL. I don't think they serve the McLobster. Actually, they do. I thought they discontinued the McLobster, but apparently I'm pretty sure you can get it in Nova Scotia. If you want to go there and try it, you're welcome. At number 4 is the McPizza. I never knew McDonald's ever sold pizza, so this one had me shooketh. Apparently, back in the 80s, the McPizza was introduced to the menu and was initially sold as a family-sized pizza, but then scaled down to an individual person's order. And what's getting me is the logo they made for McPizza. It's the word pizza, but the two Z's are made from 2 of the McDonald's M's on their side, which, I mean, kudos to them, it looks pretty cool. It ended up being dropped from every branch by 2000 because it took 11 minutes to make one McPizza, and that is not fast enough for fast food, honey. No. Imagine a parallel universe where all our fast food places were swapped, so instead of Pizza Hut being known for pizzas, for example, it was McDonald's that was known for pizzas. Pizza Hut was known for hot dogs. KFC was known for being the best fast food vegetarian place. Can you imagine? Like, it would be our world, but just off, just wrong, just not right. Filling at number 3 slot are Fish McBites. This one legit had me in fits. I think it's so funny. It came in 3 different sizes and it's exactly what you think it is. Imagine the popcorn chicken at KFC, but just popcorn fish. I'd actually be quite down to try that, to be fair. I never even minded the Filet-O-Fish, and it's good for people who only eat kosher or halal, so I mean, inclusivity is there. We like that. Now, sadly, the Fish McBites were discontinued in 2013, but maybe in an underwater parallel universe, they are the staple product. I can just imagine humans swimming around and some omnipotent godlike figure just sprinkling these Fish McBites into the world, and all of us just coming up and be like, just like eating the Fish McBites. Maybe my imagination went too far there. Now at number 2 is McSpaghetti. Now, before they launched this item, during the drawing board sessions, when they were thinking of a new product, like, did they not even think that, hey, maybe spaghetti won't really work with our cardboard packaging that barely even closes properly? Like, what a disaster waiting to happen. And it was a disaster, really, when it did happen. The company launched it in the 80s along with the fettuccine alfredo and lasagna option too, which low-key sounds really bloody good right now. I'm so hungry. It failed massively in the US, but can apparently still be found in some branches in the Philippines. So can any Filipino subscriber please confirm or deny that in the comments below? Thank you. I feel like this product came from a universe that is just vastly inefficient in every way. They eat cereal in plates, eat soup with forks, and are probably the unhappiest universe amongst all the parallel ones. I put my money on it. And finally, at number 1 is the Hula Burger. Even looks-wise, this looks like it would taste absolutely foul, and you can bet your I'm probably right. Now, this one was introduced to the menu back in the 60s as a meatless option during Lent for Catholics on Friday. It is literally, and I kid you not, a grilled thick-ass pineapple in a bun with cheese. Like, the ratio of pineapple to everything else is just so off. I can even imagine just like how sour it would be. Even though I love pineapples, but like, that's just too much. The picture also makes it seem like it's a giant round slab of jelly or just gelatin. Like, I just don't get how anyone in our world would eat that. I don't discriminate against anyone that liked the Hula Burger, but come on, like that ain't it, chief. That ain't it. I don't even mind this one ejecting itself from our universe and living in another one. Like, off you go. Don't look back now. I feel like if you ordered this in that universe, the fries you'd get with it would be like deep fried celery or something. Like, come on. Enough is enough. Let's not joke around.
Number 10. Sky dancers. Little plastic princesses with wings that you could throw into the air and they would come down, twirling down to the ground nicely. If by nicely you mean a cold slap in the face, sky dancers were a Happy Meal toy that sent girls bananas in the 90s. The way the toy was supposed to work is you throw it up in the air and it spins down to the ground in a graceful fashion. But the plastic they used to make it was too hard, and the flight path was unpredictable, so it would end up backhanding you in the cheek with the velocity of a helicopter. It turned from a cute doll that was supposed to simulate a dancing princess to a weapon that siblings would use to throw over your sibling's head and catch them off guard unexpectedly with a sneak attack. Number 9. Farm animal glove. Choking hazard. The concept of the glove isn't that scary. It was a glove that kids could wear while they ate chicken nuggets, this way their hands didn't get greasy. Each finger of the glove had a different barnyard animal on it. That part is kind of creepy. You literally have a chicken watching you eat chicken nuggets that used to be his relatives. You'd be like, for the love of God, please kill me, no chicken deserves this. But it got much worse than that. Parents started complaining because the little felt fingers that had the barnyard animals on them would rip off as kids were eating, and some kids were choking on the Farmville mascots. I guess that's how the little chicken finger got his revenge. Number 8. Mini Furbies. If you were alive in the 90s, you remember Furby fever that washed over everyone. They were little half bird, half reptile, fuzzy wuzzy cootsy wootsy toys. They were cute in the way that like clowns are cute. McDonald's tried to cash in on those bad boys by making mini versions. The main selling feature for Furbies was that you could teach them to say things, like anything. You could teach them to say I love you or hail Satan. The McDonald's versions didn't have the feature where you could teach them words, but they would talk at random. So you could be walking through your kitchen late at night and then out of nowhere you hear, "Be my friend," creep out of the darkness. Number 7. Swearing minions. We follow up number 8 with another sweeping trend, the Minions. In 2015, McDonald's teamed up with the Little Yellow movie stars to give people what they wanted. I always hated that as a kid. My parents would take me to McDonald's and get me a Happy Meal, and I would get like the Happy Meal version of a toy instead of going to the toy store. Looking back on it, I was just a spoiled brat and I should have just been more grateful. Now, the Minions speak a language called Minionese, and these toys had a function where if you pressed on them, they would talk. They were supposed to speak Minionese, which is just gibberish, but parents started complaining that they would swear. I would not be surprised if someone programmed swear words into these things as a prank. This is just like the IKEA catalog thing all over again. If you don't remember this, back in the day, there was a graphic designer who worked for IKEA. He got laid off, and on his last day, he photoshopped onto a dog that was on the cover of the IKEA catalog. Oh, it was genius. Number 6. American Idol toys. What says I'm a kid who loves to have fun like playing with some American Idol themed toys, including famous American Idol characters like Clapper Hands and a microphone. Best of all, it had a fake MP3 player which only had one song on it. Was it a hit from a famous American Idol winner? No! It would just play the American Idol theme song over and over again. Some sort of twisted torture to remind kids that if you watch too much American Idol, you might never stop. This toy isn't super scary, it just sucks. What a pile of trash. What kid in their right mind gets excited about game show themed toys? Save that for the retirement home. Number 5. Jellyfish Willy. Usually when you're making a toy for kids, the last thing you want is it to be shaped like a penis. Well, when the movie Finding Nemo came out, someone at the McDonald's toy factory tried to make a jellyfish and ended up making something that looks like someone's dong. There is so much wrong with this one. Not only does it have a strong phallic presence, but they put a face on it, and the face looks like a guy who just hit too many bongs. This jelly wiener looks like he ate the wrong plate of cookies and now he's getting hit with a wave of THC that could bring down an elephant. I feel like this dude needs to be on a t-shirt or an episode of Rick and Morty or something like that. Needless to say, when kids would pull this toy out of their paper McDonald's bag, their parents would quickly snatch it away. There were endless complaints about this clear oversight, and it wasn't long before the toy was quickly removed from each location. Next time you want to make dick-shaped toys, save them for grown-ups. Number 4. Plastic bag puppet. What do kids love? Clowns? No. Puppets? After the Revenge of Pinocchio? No. Plastic bags? Well, I don't know if they love them, but I know you're not supposed to leave little kids alone with a bunch of plastic bags. So why not put them all together? A few things that kids don't like all in one, and it could potentially kill them. One of the first McDonald's Happy Meal toys ever was a plastic bag with Ronald McDonald's face on it, and it was supposed to act like a puppet. It just ended up being a horrifying choking hazard for kids. Back then, people didn't know that one of the #1 things kids try to do is find new and interesting ways to kill themselves. It also doesn't seem like McDonald's was big on the environment back then. They'd give you all your food in a paper bag, but they thought, how can we find a way to put a plastic bag in the paper bag? On top of this all, it's just cheap and lazy. It seems like the only one you could get was a puppet of Ronald McDonald. You couldn't even get like a set of puppets and put on a McDonald's themed puppet musical where Hamburglar is just a misunderstood misfit trying to find his place in the world. No one steal that, I'm taking that to Broadway. Number 2, Madame Alexander dolls. Have you ever seen a Madame Alexander doll? Well, they look very lifelike. And not in a good way. Think of a creepy wannabe marionette that has those eyes that seem like they're always watching you. Well, McDonald's teamed up with the queen of creepy dolls to come out with an entire line of distressing looking dolls. Most of which were just a regular level of creepy, but one reached a new level of unsettling. The Wizard of Oz flying monkey doll. It looks like they took an orphan boy and spliced him together with whatever DNA is left after a zoo burns down. He's got fur coming out of everywhere, blue skin like the Will Smith genie, and creepy monkey hands and feet. His only redeeming qualities are that super fly vest, and for whatever reason his eyebrows are perfectly on point. Can we just make a rule to stop making dolls? Nobody likes them. We've moved on in society. We don't need little creepy humanettes sitting around reminding us that the devil is real. And our #1 is heating up. Back in 2016, McDonald's wanted to change their unhealthy image by giving kids a little fitness tracker watch as their Happy Meal toy. This sucks for so many reasons. 1. A fitness tracker is not a toy, and any kid who gets one would be cheesed with the impression that it is a toy. 2. If you want to change your unhealthy image, McDonald's, why not start with making your food healthier? And 3. The fitness trackers were so poorly designed, they started burning the skin of every who wore them. One mother went on record saying that it left a burn on her kid's skin after only 8 minutes. I bet this was all a McDonald's plot to give a younger generation a Pavlovian response between healthy living and pain. It's so funny to me that the one time McDonald's tries to promote healthy living, they end up giving 3rd-degree burns to kids. Number 10. The tickle feather. What sounds like a good time to kids? Running up to a bunch of strangers and slowly stroking them with a foam feather? Well, I hope the answer is no. If you're a kid who loves doing this, please try a PlayStation, it's much better. Well, McDonald's seemed to think that kids would actually love invading the personal space of all their friends and family, so they released the tickle feather. It might have actually been called the McTickle feather, which makes it even funnier and even creepier, but I couldn't lock this down for sure. This toy is pretty old, it comes way of 1982. The point of the toy is you take it, run up to people, and give them a little tickle tickle tickle, but we all know that no one ever in history of people ever wants to be tickled. It only leads to inappropriate touching and peed pants. Also, this was made out of foam and given to kids. And what does foam do? It can be squashed and then it expands. And what do kids love to do? Eat everything. So on top of this toy being the worst lesson in personal space, it was also a major choking hazard. Number 9. The Ronald McDonald mask. Okay, this one seems like a deliberate attempt to create unrest in the middle-class American home. The Ronald McDonald mask is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mask that would turn every kid who put it on into the famous McDonald's mascot, Ronald McDonald. And what is Ronald McDonald? A clown. So that means there would have been thousands, if not millions, of little clowns running around North America at one point. This is almost worse than that thing that happened a few years ago where there was a bunch of full-grown adults that were dressed up as clowns and started hanging out in parks. I can imagine how many kids developed a lifelong fear of clowns when their friends' faces went from smiling youths to soul-stealing circus freaks. Nobody likes clowns. I don't even think clowns like clowns. I would have loved to see the parent who got this Happy Meal for their kid, and then later that night they're like, Timmy, come downstairs for dinner, dinner's ready. And then walks in a mini clown boy like, feed me. I think McDonald's should come up with a new mascot. Number 8, Ronald McDonald's sunglasses. I don't know why McDonald's really wants to put Ronald McDonald's face on other kids' faces. You already give them poison that causes childhood obesity. Isn't that enough? Leave their poor faces alone. I'm sure you can picture exactly what these look like. They have the classic Ronald McDonald colors spread throughout sunglasses. Not that creepy, and it seems like even though McDonald's really doesn't care about your kid's gastrointestinal tract, they really care about their eyes. For whatever reason, right in the middle of these sunglasses is Ronald's face creeping out of them, and the expression makes me want to wash my eyes out with a Brillo pad. He's got this blank serial killer smile. I feel like this is the last thing you would see after you took a wrong turn when you were wandering around a creepy carnival. These sunglasses would make it so hard to have some fun in the sun because every time you look at them, you keep remembering that after the sun goes down, there's only darkness. Number 7, the Michael Jordan Fitness Fun Challenge. Yes, the Michael Jordan. We're talking about the GOAT. The guy who has some of the most amazing highlight reels in sports. Of course McDonald's would want to pair up with one of the biggest celebrities of the 90s. Also, McDonald's giving away a fitness fun challenge to kids disguises the fact that McDonald's doesn't care about your fitness at all. The only challenge is trying to keep an 8-year-old's blood pressure down after eating a 10-piece McNugget meal. But these toys were all pretty normal. There was a mini basketball, which went flat after 2 uses of course, a stopwatch, a foam football for some reason. But the deadly part about this Happy Meal was the skipping rope. It looked like a normal skipping rope, but it was too short for almost every kid who used it. And what happens when you use a skipping rope that's too short? It whips you in the back of the head. Countless little Michael Jordan fans had red lashes across the back of their skulls because they just wanted to train like the GOAT. It wasn't long before all of these skipping ropes were thrown in the trash because no preteen likes to spend their days getting slapped in the back of the head with a chunk of plastic. Number 6, Mighty Duck Pucks. More sport-themed toys that threaten the life of young children. You might say that McDonald's knows nothing about exercising. Huh. The Mighty Duck Pucks were inspired by the Mighty Ducks animated series, which was a bunch of anthropomorphic ducks from space who defend Earth with hockey-themed superpowers. Very strange. This Happy Meal toy took each one of the duck-billed superheroes and slapped them on top of a hockey puck. But not like a silk screen pressed image. No, that would make too much sense. These pucks had huge plastic characters jutting out of them. Of course, McDonald's said you could actually play hockey with these guys. What ended up happening is while kids were slap-shotting these danger pods into nets, plastic figures would fly off and smash into who knows what. Sometimes a tree, sometimes a road, but every now and again it would collide right into a kid's face. I mean, of course. Why would you put a piece of breakable plastic on something that was intended to be smashed with a hockey stick? Duh. Number 5, camping tools. You can tell there are points where the people at McDonald's who are in charge of picking toys run out of ideas. One week it's Power Rangers and the next week it's camping tools. Super lame. And the scary thing about this pack of plastic landfill contributors was the frying pan. It was a little imitation frying pan that kids could use to simulate cooking while roughing it in the great outdoors. The only problem is some kids actually tried to use it to cook. When you give kids things that are supposed to replicate what adults do, they'll actually try to use it for what it's supposed to be used for. There were a bunch of reports of these things being melted down to stovetops because some little tykes wanted to whip up some quick grub. It was a very dangerous fire hazard. Number 4, toothbrush and toothpaste. Most kids already hate going to the dentist, so why not bring the wonders of dental hygiene to somewhere where they thought they could escape their worries? Not only does the dentist flashback suck for kids, but having a toothbrush and toothpaste considered a toy is one of the biggest rip-offs of all time. No one has fun brushing their teeth. You do it because you don't want to end up looking like Tom Cruise in The Outsiders. The scary part about this one is being a kid excited to get a Happy Meal bonus, and then you're just reminded that your mouth will decay every day unless you take care of it. Also, McDonald's, stop pretending like you care about our health. I feel like McDonald's branded anthrax or a handgun would be much more on the mark for them. If it makes it any better, this was back in 1983. I guess back then they didn't know kids wanted to play with G.I. Joes instead of scraping plaque. Number 3. Gardening tools. Back in the 80s, McDonald's wanted to celebrate Earth Day by making some gardening themed toys that were supposed to inspire kids to get out of the house. Leave it to one of the largest polluters in the world to think it's a great idea to make a bunch of plastic toys to honor the earth. Once again, these toys fall in the category of super lame things that never should be given to kids. I don't know how many kids out there are avid gardeners, but I'm sure it's not enough to warrant this lame excuse for a good time. The Happy Meal came with all sorts of fun gardening tools, like hand rakes, shovels, a water pail, and a greenhouse. All stuff kids would get super excited for. The only good thing that came out of these turd toys is that if you decided to hold on to one of them for whatever reason, they're going for a pretty high price on eBay. That is crazy. Climate change is happening before our eyes, and people choose to spend money on vintage McDonald's toys. Have fun eating those in the apocalypse. Number 2. Karaoke Disco Fever CD. I couldn't imagine missing the mark on more fronts. First, we have karaoke. Karaoke is kind of for kids, but it's mostly for drunk adults who tell you that if you come out with them for karaoke, they won't make you sing. And then as soon as you're there, they pressure you to sing. Next, we have disco. What kid is bobbing their afro to disco? I never thought of disco as something to throw on for my little nieces and nephews. The biggest problem with this karaoke CD was that it had Donna Summer's hit Last Dance on it. Now I love Donna Summer. She's one of the greats. But the song Last Dance contains the words, "I'm so horny." So that means a CD that was made for kids to sing along to would have them belting out the words, "I'm so." Obviously, parents were pissed because they all had to explain to their kids what